Hi, my name is Edmundo Cosio. I'm a wedding photographer. I want to share my experience with this camera here. This is my camera that I use for the last about 7 years. It's a Nikon DF. Um, it it's got a retro style to it. It's pretty neat. Sometimes people will ask me if it's a film camera, but no, it's a digital camera. Um, it it's basically been my workhorse camera for, like I mentioned, past 7 years. Um, I started using it always for weddings, and I also do quinceañeras. Um, I used it first with prime lenses because it balances really well with prime lenses, um, because this doesn't really have a very large grip like the older 1970s and 80s cameras. Wasn't with a large grip, um, but it balances well with this prime lenses. I started using this 28 millimeter f 1.8 um, with it, and I also purchased it with this here, this 50 millimeter 1.8 came with it. It was a kit that I purchased together, and this it goes with the retro look, so it looks pretty cool. But like I said, then from there I already had an 85 1.8, the what was that, the D 1.8 D. This one I got a little afterwards. It's a 1.8 G lens. This doesn't need the camera to have a one of those focusing motors on it, but this camera does have a focusing motor on it. But I like this lens, the 85 1.8, because it's sharper than the previous one, the 1.8D. But I also use this lens here, this 135 f2. This one is a D lens, so it does use the motor to focus. I found that sometimes I won't get an extremely sharp image out of it unless I'm using live view, which I'm not accustomed to using live view on weddings or quinceañeras or any kind of photography. But that's what I found that since it uses contrast detect on the live view, it seems to focus much more accurately with this camera and this lens combination. But like I mentioned, it does have a softness to it if you don't use it with the live view. Sometimes, like I said, I don't use it as much. The lenses that I use, that I would use at the time when I started using this camera, was basically the 28, the 50, and the 85. The 135 I would use it mostly for ceremonies where I had to be at a far distance and trying to get the guests or the bride coming down the aisle, that I had to have it be at a long distance. But for the most part, I would use, like I said, the other three lenses. most of the time. Like I said, the 28 is perfect for wide shots. Um, the 50 is a nice normal lens, not too wide, not too telephoto. And then I would use my 85 for portraits and shots like that. But also, like I said, I would swap it in the ceremony when I didn't need to be as far. I need to have as close enough shot as the 135 would give me. But yeah, that's what I used for the first, maybe I think the first 3 years, maybe even 4 years, because like I said, it balances really well with the prime lenses. It has a small grip, but all my fingers fit on the camera grip. And like I said, this combination of lenses, I used it for, like I said, 3 to 4 years. But after a while, I changed over to using instead zooms. I kind of just wanted to, I guess, have a simpler, just use 2 lenses. I use a third one also, and with this combination it would be 5. I use a 16 millimeter fisheye, but that one I rarely use it. Most of the time I use it for just to get large group shots, dance floors, and so. But from there, like I said, I already own these lenses here. This is my 70 to 200. I had purchased about a year before I purchased this camera, and my 24 to 70. Yeah, so yeah, this lens I purchased, and I used it mostly with other cameras that I had before my DF. This is my 24 to 70 f2.8. This I've put it through a lot of work. The rubber band that zooms, it's already coming apart. I gotta send it in to get that replaced, or probably order it and maybe replace it myself. But this has been a great lens. Very, very sharp. I would say just as sharp as these primes. And then my 70 to 200, great lens also. So with these 2 lenses, I basically can cover the entire focal length that these 4 lenses will cover, even more, because this is, like I said, at 24, and my widest in the prime that I own is 28, and then this goes all the way to 200 millimeters, and my prime that I have that has the longest focal length is a 135. The f-stops are faster, but I've found that I don't need it to be that fast. I usually shoot in 2.8 f2.8, so really no need for me to be at 1.8. I've had most of my wedding receptions or quinceañeras, usually there's pretty good lighting there. I mean, I have had one situation here and there where I needed to have that 1.8 because it was just extremely dark, but for the most part, like I said, I could just lower my shutter speed a bit. This lens, the 7200, has a vibration reduction, so it can basically be lowered to shutter speeds that normally is not that great for handheld work, but it can compensate pretty well. But yeah, that's my camera, like I mentioned. My DF. This is my Workhorse. It's been through a lot, but it's always been a great camera, and up to this point I'm still using it. I have different cameras also, new ones, older ones, and I will be sharing those on the next time I post the video. So keep an eye out for that, and thank you for watching.